Hi, folks. Here I am beaming into you on actually Thanksgiving Day. And the pieces that needed to come together for us to be live on Friday morning did not come together. But I am not going to leave us without something to meet around on Friday. So I decided I'm going to pre record this for us for Friday, tomorrow, the 29th. And I'm going to do two things for you on this day after Thanksgiving when you will be seeing this. Number one, I did indeed go online and find two Thanksgiving-related things to offer you. Not only are they Thanksgiving-related things, they are political Thanksgiving-related things. So I will offer them momentarily. And then after that, I want to offer a project of sorts that we can think about in the week to come. And in one way or another, we'll talk about it the following Friday from when you're watching this. Of course, I never know what the theme will be about what we'll be talking about, but whatever the topic of conversation, this is something we should all think about, I think, as we move on from Thanksgiving and we move towards, shockingly, closing out this ever so eventful year. Okay, but first, I want to offer you my little Thanksgiving offerings. There's two of them. One of them, and I'm scrolling around here so I can get it up so I can read it to you. One of them is a letter from George Washington Adams to Louisa Catherine Johnson Adams. So I believe George Washington Adams is John Quincy Adams' oldest son. I think he's writing to his mother, actually. And the part that struck me when I was searching around was this. He says to her, I spent the last week, Thanksgiving, in Quincy, Massachusetts. Charles was there and very agreeable. Grandfather, tolerably well and quite composed and calm. I assume that's John Adams. The week passed off merrily, and we heard of elections and intrigues only from the newspapers, which at Quincy one is inclined altogether to neglect. Okay, so I offer that to you because I hope wherever you were, whatever you were doing, whether you were gathered around a meal or not on Thanksgiving, that you heard of elections only from newspapers that you ignored. I hope you did not have fierce political conversations at your Thanksgiving table, at least not at the table. Afterwards, maybe before. So anyway, I wish you that peace, whatever happened on your Thanksgiving day. Okay, the second thing that I found very interesting is actually from December 11th, 1818. And it's from James Madison to James Monroe. And James Madison, for some reason, was thinking about religious proclamations. I gather that there was something said publicly about whether religious proclamations were appropriate or whether they were unconstitutional. And surprise, surprise, religion and the state were being debated. And at this point, Madison is president, so he's thinking about this. And I guess a newspaper said Mr. Madison would never recommend a fast day, but at the solemn request of Congress. So anyway, Madison's thinking, religious Thanksgiving days, and he writes to Monroe and says, Washington, I seem to remember Washington giving some kind of Thanksgiving proclamation. And in the case of Washington, apparently, he did it at the beginning of 1795. So it was a New Year Thanksgiving kind of proclamation, not the day that we are all celebrating right now. Regardless, it was a Thanksgiving proclamation. And what's interesting about it is apparently Madison wants Monroe, like, do you remember it? Can you find it? I'm curious what you remember about it. So he's being Madison and he's researching, like, what do I do about proclamations and religious proclamations? This particular one was drafted apparently by Alexander Hamilton, surprise, in 1795. And Attorney General Edmund Randolph wrote in the margin on that draft, this proclamation ought to savor as much as possible of religion and not too much of having a political object, which is interesting, right? It's a president making a proclamation, and Randolph is like, I don't think this should be political. I think this should be religious. Hamilton replies to that note and says, a proclamation by a government, which is a national act, naturally embraces objects which are political. This is a mere benevolent sentiment in unison with public feeling, which, without insisting, wishes a state of things propitious to those who come. Okay, so there you have Hamilton, the Federalist, saying regarding a statement coming from even though he was trying to be an umpire who was neutral, a Federalist president, he's saying, of course it should be political. It's the president addressing the nation. It's political. And there you have Randolph saying, oh, no, no, no. We shouldn't be talking about politics at all. And of course, Randolph is a Republican. One way or another, this Thanksgiving statement was being politicized. And so I offer that to you. And plus the fact that they were arguing about religion, somehow that seems very appropriate to now. So at any rate, those are my Thanksgiving offerings to you this year. Now let me move on to the little project that I think will be useful for us to think about. And one way or another, we can see what happens with whatever the heck topic we're going to talk about a week from when you are watching this, because who knows what it'll be, because we never know, because who the heck knows what's going to happen in those 7 days. But regardless, I'd like us all to think about 3 things before we next meet. Number 1, honestly, what is something that you are thankful for? And why don't we stick to politics? Something that you are thankful for politically right now. Whatever that is, think about something that you are thankful for politically. Then think about something you are really not thankful for politically. I have a long list. I'm sure some of you do too. Think about something you are really supremely not thankful for politically. And then, importantly, and maybe most important of all, think about what you can do going ahead to work towards fixing that, whatever that may be. And maybe that will be something you can do on your own. Maybe that will be something you can do bringing people together to work together to get in the way of or push back against whatever that thing is that you're not thankful for. But think about those 3 things. I am thankful for X politically. I'm really not thankful for Y politically. And what am I going to do about it? And how am I going to do it? And with who? To push back, to get in the way of that thing that I'm not thankful for. Because we all need to be thinking about that. We're moving into a place, some of us are happy about it, and some of us are not. And for those of us who are not happy about it, think about how you're going to deal with this. And granted, we all deserve to be nice to ourselves, particularly at this moment, because this is a hard moment for any number of reasons. So I hope that all of you on this Thanksgiving Day, whether you're with people, whether you're by yourself, whether you're eating a big meal, whether you're not eating a big meal, whatever the heck it is you're doing on Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, I hope you're finding a way to be nice to yourself, because we all deserve to be nice to ourselves, because we got a lot of stuff to do going forward, and we'll be doing it both independently and together. We will. And we will still be here as a community, sort of working our way through things as they come. So, I guess as they say, gird your loins, right? Relax, get yourself happy and strengthen yourself because there's work going ahead. Think about that for this Thanksgiving. Think about things that actually, and it might be hard at this moment to think about a political thing you're thankful for, but there are many, and I bet you can think of some. And go through this project at this particular moment when I think everyone's thinking about thanks. That was almost a tongue twister. Anyway, humor me and do this. We will find a way to talk about this next week. As a way to prepare ourselves for, shockingly, the end of this year. How did we get here? I don't know, in ever so many ways, but here we are almost in December. Okay, we're prepping ourselves for how we're going to think about this year by the end of the year, but we're going to think in a concrete, cohesive, community way about what we can do going forward. We have a lot of stuff to do, and we're going to do it from the bottom of my heart. I know we will. We will do everything we can to get in the way of what we do not like, to push back against what we think is unfair, and to make things better. Okay, that said, I actually have a mug, and it's not Mr. Grumpy. I did not think Mr. Grumpy was appropriate for Thanksgiving. So I have a mug. Let me tell you the story of the mug. So I ordered things from the Harris Waltz campaign a long time ago. And I gather that they must have been so overwhelmed by people ordering things that they didn't get around to fulfilling all the orders for a while. So I received this last week, and it kind of hurt. But It's appropriate for right now, and it's appropriate for what I just said, folks. When we fight, we win. I know it's a little bit of a bittersweet message, but if we project it forward in time, I truly believe if we push back, if we stand up, if we fight for what we believe in, it's going to matter. So, not Mr. Grumpy, but a more optimistic mug. On that note, I wish you all a wonderful week moving ahead. As ever, I thank you for engaging in the conversation of democracy on a Friday morning, even if I'm not quite there in person to talk with you. We've got so much to talk about going ahead, so much to think through together. We will be there as a community doing it. Have no doubt, have no fear. But in the meantime, have a good week. Take care of yourself one way or another. Oh, see, now I'm the bad student whose phone just went off. Ignore that phone noise. Whatever you're doing, take care of yourself. Be nice to yourself. Stay well. And I will see you guys all next week. Bye, everybody.